Good evening and welcome to our very special 30th anniversary webinar. We have staff, present and past, students, present and past, parents, university partners, agencies, friends of the college, college directors and governors, education partners and homestay hosts this evening on our webinar. And I hope you enjoyed reading all the messages and the photos from the archive. So 30 years, what an achievement. Obviously, we can't cover everything in the webinar like this, but we're going to do a potted history of the college and hopefully cover some key landmarks which may trigger some memories for you. So sit back and enjoy the celebration. And so for the first chapter of the college, opening in 1990. So in 1990, the college opened on Charles Street in Manchester just for 1 year, with 5 founding members, including Helena Renshaw pictured here. Helena still teaches at the college, and I had a little chat with Helena about the early days. All the students were resitting their A-levels, and all that was offered was maths, physics, chemistry, and biology in September, January, or January, June, or 1-year courses. The origins of the college were born out of this small class sizes, first name terms, all the students were adults at that time, and no uniform. This support and individual care and flexibility was very much the ethos that the students wanted for, and that became the ethos for the college. Most of the students were doing medicine, dentistry, and veterinary science, pharmacy type applications. Expectations of students and parents were very high, and large grade increases were not uncommon. I think a lot of things that happened 30 years ago probably wouldn't happen today, a joint staff and Christmas party, for example. But that was where the college was born, Charles Street. I think a lot of you probably thought it was on Fountain Street. So we move on to a little history of the college. So the college was expanding and it needed new premises. So the Fountain Street building was rented, and here you see a photograph of it. Now, underneath the building was Pizza Hut, and to one side was the Shakespeare pub. Now, at the time when I joined the college, we still had the Fountain Street building, and I do fondly remember the smell of garlic bread wafting through. But the college was expanding. And so by 1992 to 1996, it moved up to at least 80 students. And as with that, we were starting to offer A-level and GCSEs. So by 1996, we actually grew so much that we needed to add the Kennedy Street building, and that became the main site with Fountain Street as the annex. And that was next to the law school. So we had a split site college, and that meant that we were able to expand around 120 students and more. In 1997, we see Alex Watts, who is our second longest serving member of staff, join the college. He recalls that still it was Sep Jan and Jan June and 1-year courses. There was a pick and mix for the modules, and all were heavily subscribed. We ran MDV seminars, that's medicine, dentistry, and veterinary science seminars for students in the Northwest, as few of the colleges were really geared up for retakes. Alex said the college had a really fine ethos of helping those students who needed a second chance, and this was developed further. The emphasis was on small teaching, groups of maximum 8 in those days, and a strong emphasis on one-to-one help. This is what Alex liked about Abbey and why he has stayed. Then we find in 1998, Gary Brady, now director of the maths faculty, joined. At the time, he was teaching maths. He later became head of GCSE. And again, he was one of the founding members of the sort of transitional phase of the college. So we move to the year 2000, well, 1999 to 2000. And there I am, looking a little younger than I do today, signature red hair still in place. I had joined the college having worked in the state sector for 5 years. And it was a refreshing change. I'd been in 11 to 16 schools, and my original motive for moving to Abbey was to teach A-level geography, which I did for many years. But I was also swept up immediately into pastoral duties and took over the GCSE year group. The then principal, Andrea Bond, took me out for a coffee to have a chat. And I thought that was such a different approach. And I liked that. And I know that I'd taken on a great job. And I knew that. And I could develop in this college. Moving had seemed a risk at the time, but absolutely not. And 21 years later, I'm still here. So I'm now going to introduce you to Nigel Walker, who joined in year 2000. And he's going to say a few words about him joining in the year 2000. Nigel.
Hi. Actually, Liz asked me to talk about Ucas, given that's been, I think, one of my key roles and contributions to the college. Now, I know for many of you listening that when I mention Ucas, that's the time that you stop listening and certainly stop answering your emails. However, we tend to use Ucas at the college as a shorthand for the outcomes achieved by our students. And I think following on from comments that have already been made by Alex, I think we can all be very proud. I think people associated with the college are very proud of the outcomes that we achieve for the students and and opening up their opportunities, for some students giving them a second chance. I mean, when I arrived at the college already had a very well-established reputation for getting students into very competitive courses, particularly medicine and dentistry. And that gave the college, in many ways, it gave the college its identity in those early days, and it helped build word of mouth within Manchester and the region. And it also led to the college establishing very strong links with a lot of the local schools. And we got recommended by heads of local schools for students who were looking for a way into medicine. And at that time, we had students who were resitting and reapplying for medicine. We also had a lot of students who were taking chemistry and biology in 1 year, so very high pressured. But the success, I think, was based a lot on the expertise that we had in the college, expertise with Ucas applications and understanding of the Ucas process, but also a lot of the expertise of the expert teaching for 1 year science and the other courses. It was also due, I think, our success was due to the way that we built up strong relations with universities. And we had universities providing us with help with interviews and sending students in to give talks to our students. And since the college has moved on a lot since those days, as I'm sure the presentation will show us later, but we've looked to build on the tradition that we established in those early days. And we've done that partly through developing our medical pathway, working with our university partners, such as Aston, Ucas, and St. George's from Grenada, in developing a course which allows our students direct access to their medical courses through our foundation program. And last year, 5 of the students on that program, 5 out of 7 students on that program achieved places on medical courses. I also want to highlight the work of some of the staff in this area, particular Paul and Julia, who have developed the medical pathway, now supported by Jonathan. And that the medical pathway not only helps to develop our students in their application for medicine, but it also gives them a really good grounding in an understanding of wider healthcare roles. And one of their big achievements, I think, has been to widen the views of students and get many students to reapply for courses such as optometry and audiology, as well as biomedical science. And that's something that I know Julia and Paul were very big in promoting, and has again led many of our students to be very successful on those courses. I mean, another fact about the Ucas, there is a strong focus on medicine, but I've always looked to also promote other courses and other opportunities within the college. And I think over the years, as the college has changed, other members of staff have been very key to, again, widening and opening up opportunities. And I just want to mention a couple more people. I particularly want to mention Faye, Martin and Nick, who were key in developing the Ucas support for international students in the college, and the work they do and continue to do supporting international students has been a really big help in sort of helping them get through not just a language barrier, but I think explaining to international students the peculiarities of the Ucas process. And lastly, but not least, I also want to mention Mark, who for many years has had a key role within the college supporting students. He's probably read more and corrected more personal statements than anyone else in the history of the college. And also, while it's not quite providing 24-hour, 365-day support, it comes pretty close to that. And I think Mark, in many ways, encapsulates the support that we give students. And so I'd like to thank him for the role that he's played. Thank you.
Thank you, Nigel. Thank you. So encapsulating Ucas there. So we move now to our 6th longest serving member of staff, Paul Kelly, who joined in 2001. And I think on this particular prospectus photograph, he could actually be mistaken for a student. Nigel's already mentioned his role in the medicine, and also the fact that he's Director of Science faculty now. In January 2002, Jenny Thomas joined the college as principal after several sort of uncertain terms after Andrea Bond had left. By this time, I was based at Fountain Street with all the GCSE students, about 50. And I remember Jenny phoning me to introduce herself. I knew we would get on well, and it was clear that whilst keeping the best of the tutorial college ethos, Jenny was set on making us a proper 6th form college. Coinciding with this, Alpha Plus took over the DLD group, that's Davis, Lang and Dick, with Paul Brett as the CEO. There were 12 schools and colleges, including Birmingham that's now closed, and London, which is now combined with DLD College. The medical, dental, veterinary tradition continued, but Jenny started to build the international side of the college. So by 2002, we were welcoming our first international students. And this was going to be a change which actually changed the college community moving forward for the better, making this wonderful mix of home and international students. Now, in 2003, another very important aspect that Jenny undertook was to move to our new building on Cheapside. So we consolidated onto one site and we moved to Cheapside, which, as you can see there where we are now, that glass-fronted building, quite a TARDIS inside with the 5 floors. Now, at the time, we did not have the ground floor space. And unfortunately, that was rented out to a betting shop and a Brazilian waxing company, which did create quite a lot of humour at the time. But moving forward, we regained control. I'd like to mention too here Barbara, our cleaner, and she has been working to make our college as shiny and sparkling as possible for many years. And also Laura, who's worked tirelessly in the early days on recruitment and then moving through and now looks after all the HR. So 2 other very long-standing members of the college joined in 2003. So we moved to 2004 after our first year in the new building. By this time I was head of 6th form. The college population had grown and so had year 13. And I think this particular cohort illustrates very well the sort of courses that students were going into. So we see medicine, dentistry, pharmacy, very high on the agenda still, medically related. But then we look at things like psychology, and interestingly, our international students go into things like engineering and material science. We see architecture, the rise of people wanting to do economics and business, but also subjects like English, French, history, the humanities, the arts being represented. And again, we see 10 going to University of Manchester, again, a similar pattern, students wanting to stay in the Northwest, 4 to Imperial and 1 to Oxford. So again, this was a kind of typical year as we move forward of how our UCAS destinations were panning out. Joining the college, aforementioned Julia Morris, head of biology, and Mark Cronin, the person who's read the most ever personal statements, also joined the college in 2004-05, so long-serving members of staff. I'm now going to move on to a message from a former student, Ross, who I taught GCSE and A-level geography. I was his head of year for GCSE and then for A-level, and he's recorded a short message for us. So I'm going to play that now.
Huge congratulations to everyone at Abbey College, Manchester on this special occasion, making it to 30 years. I started at Abbey College, Manchester in 2001. I was there for 4 years for my GCSEs and A-levels, and it was really a bit of a turning point in my life. I have so much thanks to give to all the teachers and the management team. And I am not surprised at all you made it this far, and I'm sure you'll continue to strive and make huge differences to students' lives. So thank you, and I wish you all the best for the future.
Thank you, Ross. That's lovely. And I know you're on the audience as well now, looking at all the veterans that we are. So we moved to the year 2005-06. Now, in this year, it was the year that Pat McQuaid, pictured here, actually, who'd started teaching English earlier, actually became a full-time member of staff. And I think it's very important to note the steer that she gave moving forward to the college. As head of sixth form and deputy principal later, she was key in the transition to a more robust pastoral system, and later to introducing BTEC and many of the other structural changes that we undertook in terms of developing the college in the next phase. We see here as well James Davis, who joined, who's our head of English and a poet. And Faye Hinnigan, aforementioned, who's actually the now director of the Languages and Arts faculty. And she wrote a little message saying that actually in September 2000, she did first join the college after a year of traveling. And she started working at Abbey for the first time, teaching French and Spanish. She loved working at Abbey because there was such an interesting mix of people, retired head teachers, authors, poets, travellers, academics, musicians, and people with all kinds of hair colour. I loved that in the staff room, people discussed their interests and projects, she says, rather than complaining about work. People dearly loved their subjects and were enthusiastic about their teaching. Since then, she did leave to travel, but she always returned to Abbey, which she did in 2005. So moving on to 2006. So 2006-07 saw the introduction, following on from our sister college in Cambridge, our International Foundation programme. As I recall, it was a very small programme with just 1 or 2 students. I seem to remember it was a Greek student who was doing a biology foundation. But from 1 student to extremely significant, we now last summer had 70 students sitting the International Foundation programme. So in terms of numbers, it's as popular as, and sometimes more popular than A-level. And you can see a number of our university partners here who we work with closely. You know, they often give us webinars, lectures, and they also accept our combined studies programme, a number of these institutions, which is our domestic equivalent of the foundation, which we introduced a little bit later down the line. Annette Cobley-Francis, head of art, and Mike Leatherbarrow, head of psychology, joined in 2006-07 and have added hugely to those departments. So moving to 2007-08, a little bit of sort of other background. In 2007, Delancey took over the investment in Alpha Plus, and that since Delancey took over, that has built the number of schools and colleges in the group to 20. But of course, as international student numbers increased, so did the need for accommodation. And around this time, we started to have host families for our students. Now, our homestay families do a wonderful job. They are like home for the students. The students learn their English, they learn the culture, they learn the traditions, but being in that safe environment. And our homestays, many of them have been with us for a long time, and they do really help our students settle. And of course, as we increased in terms of our numbers, so we needed to increase our staff base. So Ian's going to talk in a minute about his experiences. Mike Johnson, head of geography, joined. Martin Smithenham, who's head of the IELTS and academic English. Ruth Burnett, who teaches academic English and has been course leader for the year 11 and 10 program. Simon Patiniot, who teaches business on the foundation and accounting, and Kath Shipley, our wonderful accounts manager, all joined in 2007-8. And I'm now going to pass over to Ian Stewart, and he's going to tell us a little bit about his time at the college from when he joined in 2007 and about the marketing and things like that. So I'm going to pass over to Ian. Ian.
Okay, thanks, Liz. Once upon a time, well, during May 2007 to be precise, I was looking through the Manchester Evening News newspaper and came across a job advert. And this was looking for a marketing manager for somewhere called Abbey College, Manchester. Now, I remember thinking to myself at the time, I've lived in Manchester for over 10 years and I'd never heard of this college. So clearly that's why they needed a marketing manager. The interview day came, but I'm afraid disaster struck. I was very, very late because my train was cancelled. I then had to run all the way to the college from the station in the pouring rain. So by the time I arrived at the college, I was somewhat wet, windswept, and a little bit sweaty. And it wasn't until after the interview had actually finished that I realised that my jacket and my trousers had been splattered with mud from my running before the interview. As I was wearing a white suit at the time, this must have been pretty obvious to the interviewers themselves. But remarkably, I was still offered the position. And perhaps even more remarkably, just over 13 years later, I'm still in the position, as I usually change jobs every 3 or 4 years. Over the first few years, I was really involved in undertaking a lot of local marketing activities designed to increase the profile of the college in the local area. Much of this was pretty standard stuff: advertising in the local newspapers, website and online work, even in those days, developing relationships with companies and schools, direct mail, and of course, trying to promote the word of mouth. However, we sometimes came up with more inventive, slightly bonkers marketing campaigns designed to grab attention. These included trying to recreate a giant Pudsey bear, as you can see on the image here, through Children in Need charity. Great Abbey bake-offs, which involve students not normally renowned for their culinary abilities baking lots of cakes, some of which were delicious and some of which perhaps were not quite so delicious. Organising makeup days with Christian Dior staff, fashion shows where the students and some staff could strut their stuff and maybe show off some of their sometimes questionable taste in clothes. All of this was designed to create a bigger profile for the college in the local area. And I'm pleased that over the years we've achieved great press coverage, and that's thanks to our wonderful PR company Zeus, of course. Perhaps the most craziest marketing activity that we got involved in was driving around the local area in a big bright yellow van, which was splattered with Abbey College logos and images, playing very loud music in order to gain attention. And the driver of the van was, I remember, was a very big fan of ABBA, the pop group. And when the idea was we drove around the local area, stopping periodically and hoping that people would come to talk to us about the college, and then we could tell them what the college could offer them. It was a little bit embarrassing sometimes, but believe it or not, it was quite effective in getting our message across. Sadly, as you can sort of see, we don't have an image of the yellow van, unfortunately, on the slide. We couldn't find one, but anyway, there we go. And hopefully some of you might have joined the college as a result of some of these quite strange marketing activities that we undertook over the years. More recently, the college, as Liz has already said, more recently, the college has recruited far more international students. And my role over the last few years in particular has evolved to reflect this. I've been on several international marketing trips, and during these trips I've met a range of very interesting sort of prospective students and families, and I'm pleased to say that I've actually managed to recruit some during the travels as well. I've developed relationships with agents and schools, and I've also been to some magnificent cities. And although these travels have mostly run to plan, there have been a few hiccups along the way. I got lost in an airport once. I encountered a taxi driver who seemed to be more keen driving on the pavement than the road, and I managed to fall down a giant pothole outside one of my hotels. To name but three. All of these are separate stories, which obviously I don't have time to go into now. The changing role that I've had over the last few years is probably the reason why I've stayed at the college so long. Oh, and probably because the college is such a fantastic place to work in as well. The staff are magnificent, and we have a very low staff turnover rate, and the students have been great as well. A perfect mix of local students along with students from a diverse range of nationalities spanning pretty much every continent, probably with the exception of Antarctica, and that's truly created a global college, and it's been a privilege to be involved and still are involved in this environment. And on that positive note, I'm now going to hand back to Liz, who will continue her yearly countdown to the present day. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ian. We can hear a lot more of your stories, I'm sure, on other occasions. So, year 2009-10. Now, at the end of 2009, Jenny Thomas left the college, and I was at that time the vice principal, as that was called, and we had a marvelous recruitment. We reached 200 students. And I think that was a combination of good domestic recruitment and, of course, more international students. And of course, the college was therefore expanding, and we appointed Rachel Lasham as teacher of French and German, who is now head of Bridgewater House, and Rob Jackson as teacher of science, who teaches biology and is also a renowned runner, and he will feature later in some of the photos of some of our charity events. So we were on 200 students, and therefore, things were changing. And here we have one of our festive evenings, 2010-11. This became an annual event held at the Unitarian Chapel on Cross Street, with whom we have a very close allegiance. And we see Nigel in one of his jumpers, Ian and Mark the same there, and all our very talented performers over the years. And it really has been a fantastic event. And of course, we were unable to do anything like this year. Normally, this is what I'd be doing, presenting, or one of my co-hosts, the festive evening. But we recruited more staff in year 2010-11, including Claire Rigby, who's head of creative arts, who introduced photography. Nick Ruber, who's already been mentioned, teaching mainly English, but also economics. Tom Mokler, who was the person that initiated our 10K run initiatives for charity, who teaches psychology and English and key skills. And Lynn Davis, who is head of business and economics. So, expansion, more things, the college was kind of moving into a new phase. So in 2010, I was actually appointed principal halfway through the year. And we then moved into our next academic year, and expansion continued. So we actually had some student accommodation at Parkway Gate, but we then got new accommodation at Cavendish Place. And we appointed Bridget Marie as a house parent. She's now the day house manager at Riverside House. And we accommodated many more students. The same time, Claire Rigby initiated having the art exhibition, which was a new initiative for us. So things were kind of moving forward. And in 2012-13, we actually introduced a new course. We introduced BTECs. Now, that had been strongly driven by Pat. We saw that that was going to be very useful for many of our students for whom A-level was not the best route. And we had 25 students enrolled on this course, both doing business and science. And it was very successful because we managed to deliver the sort of 18 units within a year. And then moving forward, we then replaced this with our combined studies program. We had some new facilities in the college. With expansion means more facilities and improvements. And here we see the Lord Mayor of Greater Manchester, as she was then, or the Lord of Manchester, Elaine Boyes, who came to visit. And she was a most wonderful, down-to-earth lady. And when she came in, the thing she loved most was the lovely cup of coffee that Kath had made her. And she was so happy with that. And then later, she actually presented at our graduation as well. Now, as I've said, we had a lot more students. So we appointed Janet Morris as head of physics, and she is now head of Gaskell House. Leonard, who is one of our maths teachers, he joined us at that time. And Jane Chirotti, who teaches English. Now, Jane came to me and said, I've written a poem for the anniversary, Liz. And it's really for our international students, or indeed anybody, when they're new to somewhere. Because I think one of the things about Abbey is we do have a lot of new students each year, and every year we need to build our new college community. So I'm going to pass you over to Jane now, and she's going to read her poem, Am I Stranger? Jane.
Hi, everybody. So I've written this poem, and it's really been written through the eyes of an international student's first day at Abbey College. And it's Am I Stranger? So I travel far in search of a warm community, a collection of faiths and customs. Will some of these be similar to my own? Or will fear rise in my belly if these are beyond recognition? A place where the people care what mood I am in and gently probe in not being able to find this room or that. You are there. Am I stranger than you? Have you been a willing participant in the various stages of culture shock? What stage are you at? Right now, for me, everything seems new and exciting. I feed off this new energy daily. It gets me out of my English duvet in the morning. This and my host mother calling, do you like porridge? Porridge, I ask myself. What is this gloopy boiling substance she stirs in a cauldron-type vessel? My housemate, also an international newbie, enlightens me. I have seen pictures of men in skirts eating this. My English teacher at our British Council School showed us. This is stranger than I thought. I walked through the centre of Manchester to find this place they tell me is like a mini school with kind tutors and small enough to reassure and guide the most hesitant souls. I was an anxious child, and as a teenager, the big, noisy school I attended added to this. So I am stranger to the warmth and understanding offered here. As I enter the building on a narrow road called, how do you say, Sheepside? My worry is quelled by the calming demeanour of the adults on the corridor, who gently tell me where I need to go. As I walk tentatively, more questions flow in and out of my head. Can I pray here? For my religion requires regular prayer. In the afternoon, my tutor assures me that a quiet place will be found for me in which to practice my daily worship. Am I stranger to all of the customs here? How will I adapt to the weather? I go to my English class and students are excitedly gazing out of the window at strange white rounds falling from the sky. Like me, they've never seen the snow before. We are paired with a student from a different country, so we can't lapse into speaking English. I turn to my partner and say, I am stranger. I think you mean foreign, he says. Extranjero, étranger, straniere, foreign or stranger, I am no more.
Thank you, Jane. That was lovely. I think encapsulates a lot of how people feel. And I hope that all our students do feel very settled in the college. I think they do. So I'm going to move through some more years now. So 2013-14, college continuing to expand, more staff appointed, Doug Duggan, our maths teacher, Nikki Catherine, who is head of RS, Jane Hayes teaching business, economics, ICT, and Paul Jones, another house parent. We did the 10K run to raise charity, and you know, that's all been part of the kind of development of the college. 2014-15 saw college expansion. We gradually encroached and we took over the betting shop, and we had our new reception area on the ground floor at long last, which was wonderful. And we appointed Keith Burgess, who is our academic data manager and timetabler, and Peter Wode, our lab technician. We moved to 2015-16. And in 2015-16, we employed 2 new science teachers, Jonathan and Andrew. They were both NQTs. As you know, a lot of the staff have been at the college a long time, and we introduced our youngsters into the college, along with Mark Arrowsmith, who also has put all this presentation together. And so we have, you know, continued to expand. And we can see here our graduating students there with Richard Purchase, who was the college's director at the time, and also Cody Coyne, Reverend Cody Coyne from the chapel, who we've worked with closely from the Unitarian Chapel. And over the years, David Ganderton and Bill Dwyer and friends of the college have presented awards as well. So by 2016-17, we moved to new student accommodation. We had outgrown Cavendish Place, and we wanted to move somewhere else. So we moved to Riverside House in Salford, Portergate, wonderful accommodation, very modern, high specification. And, you know, we needed more house parents. So Alan Freeman joined us, and we registered with the Boarding Schools Association. At the same time, I was sent on some of my first trips abroad. I say sent. I went to China, I went to Kazakhstan. You see this rather amusing photo of me here with the history teacher in a Kazakh school in Karaganda. I visited 4 cities in 4 days, and there I am in Jinan in China with an impromptu people that wanted a photograph with me. So we expanded and we employed Brandon, another new teacher, an NQT, to teach maths, and so we go forward. We moved to 2017-18, and we expand the college building more. We take over the rest of the basement. The Brazilian waxing company at last is gone, and we take over the other half of the basement. And Andy Burnham, on his second visit to the college, opened those facilities. And you know, he actually was quite amusing when he visited the first time, to say, as he was Shadow Health Secretary, he was a shadow of his former self. As we know, he is now the Mayor of Manchester. And at this time, Mark Hanley Brown, who's the CEO of the Alpha Plus Group, joined. And we have seen a big commitment to the development of the colleges in the group, and our sister colleges, Cambridge and DLD, are pictured here, and marks, commitment to education, which has been wonderful for the group and for Abbey College Manchester. And joining the staff, Lizzie Terry as head of senior boarding, Roseanne Go teaching yoga, Amanda Shepherdson, our nurse, Lucas, our house parent, and Mark, our basement manager. So again, all showing the expansion of the college. And so we move to 2018 and 19. And here we have a very exciting development. We actually have gone into partnership with International House, who are a football academy. And in conjunction with them, we are delivering academic studies with football training. And this can be for any of our students doing GCSEs, foundation or A-level. We started with 3 students and we've seen that jump to 21 students. And I'm now going to hand over to Mick Brennan, one of the directors of International House, who's just going to say a few words.
Thanks, Liz, and thanks for involving us in this celebration, and congratulations to everybody at Abbey College for the 30 years. Yes, we started the partnership 3 years ago with a handful of students on the football programme, and testimony to the college and to the marketing team and all the staff there, that within that first year and everything that we put into the programme, that jumped up to 21 in the following year. And in actual fact, going into January this year, we'll have 27, 28 students on the football programme. And we were looking around Manchester with our academy for another opportunity for students to get education of football. And we obviously came across Abbey College, and we worked with you. And because you've got the same ethos of the academic underpinning and the sport as the enrichment in the students. It's been a delight to work with everybody at Abbey College, and we look forward to another many years continuing to work. And moving forward, as we're talking about all the developments, it's great to see all these developments over the years. We're tremendously excited about the new development of the sports strand on the International Foundation programme, that we can now work in partnership with everybody there at Abbey College. So thank you very much for all the hard work and the partnership that you do, and we look forward to many more years of that partnership.
Thank you so much, Mick. It's fantastic working with you, and it's fantastic working with your coaches, very highly qualified. In fact, David Raven, one of your coaches, is actually playing in the 3rd round of the FA Cup against Tottenham Hotspur in January for Marine AFC. And he's been giving the students a real insight into how it is playing professional football. And of course, joining the college in 2018-19, we have Zuzana, one of our house parents, Vicky Dawson, who is receptionist, and Kwangan Shirley, who is our international student services and Chinese liaison. So we move to the year 2019-20. Pat departed the college, and we appointed a new assistant principal, pastoral and academic, Chris Randall. And I'm going to pass over to Chris now, and he's going to talk a little bit about that year, his first year at the college, which was not without its unusualness, if that is a word to say. Okay.
Thanks, Liz. It was certainly a different year, but we'll come on to that in a minute. So as Liz said, I arrived and I succeeded Pat, and took over the fabulous work that she'd done on a pastoral point of view. And we also launched for the first time a house system. So we named the 3 houses Bridgewater, Gaskell and Rylands after 3 famous Mancunians or adopted Mancunians. And each house has its own fantastic head of house, Rachel, Janet and Mark, ably aided and abetted by the assistant heads of house in Jonathan, Tom and Nikki. And at the same time as I arrived, we also had Lydia arrive as one of the new lab techs. Nigel Willets joined us to teach business and English. Chris, just because there were already 3 Marks, Liz decided she had to employ 2 Chris's. So Chris joined the student services team. Jen joined us on Yusenko, and we got a cook down at Riverside, Esther, who you will see a little bit of later. and she is a wonderful cook for our boarding students at Riverside. So the academic year 1920 started perfectly normally. As I say, we had the houses, we were giving out house points for attendance and punctuality and good work and progress and effort. And then we came back after Christmas and we heard whisper of a virus in China, and we were watching the news every day, and then it spread to South Korea. Half term came and went, and it was in Iran and Italy, and people had to self-isolate, and we'd never heard the term self-isolate. And then we gradually watched this virus spread and spread and spread. And then everything changed. And we came across even more new terms. We came across the term social distancing. We came across the term furlough. We came across the term you're on mute. And then later on in the year, the term CAGs, central assessed grades. March, April, May were very, very, very steep learning curves for the teachers, for the students. And we all know what a fantastic job the teachers did. The transition from face-to-face to remote teaching was seamless. The training that the teachers put themselves through and were offered a kind of crash one-day course by Carol and by others here in college on Teams, how to use Teams, how to best teach the students. It was phenomenal. We did kind of 2, 3, 4 years worth of training in 2, 3, 4 days, sometimes 2, 3, 4 hours. And as I say, the transition to remote was seamless, but it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy because we missed seeing our students every day. The graduating class of 2020, who we're also here to celebrate, who we'll see in a little while. Some of you guys, we only ever saw you for 6 months. Some of you have been back to visit this year. The rest of you, you're more than welcome, as long as you social distance and wear your mask. Please do come and visit us in college because it'd be lovely to see you. So 1920 was, it was a difficult year. The IFP carried on as normal. We did our exams remotely, as we've just been doing this week. And yeah, well done. Students, well done. Teaching staff, pastoral staff, support staff. It's not been easy, but you all did really well. You did a fantastic job and continue to do that. So we've learned a lot this year. Things maybe getting back to normal in a little while, but for now they're not. But well done everybody on a very, very, very difficult 12 months. And let's see what January brings. And I'll pass you back to Liz.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you very much. So,
well, actually, not quite back to Liz yet, because there's a little something that we need to say. Because as we know, this has been an absolutely crazy 8 or 9 months. And there's one person who has made it all just that little bit easier with her humour, her haberdashery, her strategic vision, her help, her guidance, and her fantastic leadership. And obviously you all know I'm talking about Liz, and what she's done over these last kind of 8 or 9 months. She's kept us all sane. She's led us all in the most fantastic way. And we just thought it'd be a nice little idea to just say thank you to her. So by the magic of television, there should be a little knock on the door right about now. And there should be a little elf who's going to bring you, Liz, a little present on behalf of all the teachers, on behalf of all the staff here at Abbey, just to say thank you, well done, and have a great holiday.
Unmute. I was muted. Thank you so much. This is so unexpected. Oh, I will open it in a little bit. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And I was going to try not to cry, so I'm going to have to really compose myself now. Thank you. I really appreciate it. But just to say, Abbey is a family, and we are all a family together, and that is what makes it so special. So 21 years later, still in the family. Thank you everybody. I'm quite overwhelmed. So I'm going to compose myself now, and I am going to congratulate all our alumni, and we're going to do our graduation. So graduation, what should have happened at the Radisson in May. I'm going to read out the names of the students who have signed up today and their destinations and courses, and then we'll congratulate them at the end. First of all, I'm just going to mention Adina Black in year 11, who signed up as an alumni. We don't normally do a year 11, but well done, Adina, on your GCSEs, and that you're, I think, now doing an accounting course. So thank you for joining us. So year 13. So Tara Hosseini is now reading medicine at UCLan. Well done, Tara. Beth McKellar is studying midwifery at the University of York. Well done, Beth. Rob Edwards is studying medicine at the University of Sunderland. Well done, Rob. Olivia Wilson is studying physiotherapy at Leeds Beckett University. Well done, Olivia. Sean Zaya Place is studying graphic design at Salford. Well done. Sam Shen is studying computer science and maths at the University of Manchester. Well done, Sam. Hawa Izzadutz is studying medicine at RSCI Bahrain. Well done, Hawa. Amina Issa is studying economics at the University of Liverpool. Well done, Amina. Afreen Pudakail is studying medicine at Aston University. Well done, Afreen. Salwa Abukal is studying medicine at St George's and Northumbria University. Well done, Salwa. Chanon Wirod Pasitit is studying accounting and finance at the University of Manchester. Well done, Chanon. Selena Tarbo is studying medicine at UCLan. Demi McKindy is studying biomedical sciences at the University of Kent. Well done, Demi. Grace Whitby is studying natural sciences at University College London. Well done, Grace. Veronica Dolgowska is studying business management with marketing at Manchester. Neha Kumar is studying law at the University of Law. Well done. Mariam Afolabi is studying international business, finance and economics at the University of Manchester. Sanjaya Kenjaragiva is studying management, international business and economics at the University of Manchester. And Henry Zhang is studying medicine at Imperial. And Henry actually took a gap year before starting and worked as a volunteer at the college last year, helping some of our students, and worked in the administration. And he said to me, "It's been an honour studying at ACM for A-levels. Our excellent teachers have been more than helpful in improving academic achievements. I'm really thankful for all the support I had from the college, which is an integral part of my success. Happy anniversary." Well done to all of you. Through adversity, you have achieved amazing results. You've been amazing students. And if any of you signed up after the list, well done to you and pass your congratulations on. You've been a wonderful year. So I'm going to now move on to a little message from Veronica, which she's recorded for us. So we're just going to hear that now. Veronica, I'm going to pass over to Veronica for her message. Thank you.
Hi everyone, it's Veronica here. So I just wanted to say happy 30th anniversary to Abbey College. I think it's such a shame that we can't celebrate a proper graduation, but I think it's also nice that we're given this opportunity to come to this online event so we can all still get together and celebrate. For me, Abbey has been one of the best experiences and I definitely will remember it for a long time. I've met friends for life. The support and guidance I was given by teachers and staff in Abbey has made significant impact on helping me to get where I wanted to get to. So I'm really grateful for that, and I just wanted to say thank you. I do hope we all get together again so we can properly celebrate. But for now, I wish everyone all the best and stay safe.
Thank you. That's a lovely message, Veronica. Thank you so much. So we have a cake a virtual cake. And here's Lizzie Terry, head of senior boarding, with the cake. And you're going to see a little film of it being cut by Esther here. And I'm going to introduce you to Tim Haynes, who's director of the colleges and one of our governors, who's going to say a few words now. And staff, I know you have your party bags. Now's the time to pop your poppers and do your toasts, and everyone raise a toast to the college. Tim, over to you.
Thank you very much, Liz. Well, it's great to be with you all this evening. And I'm not sure from Liz's instructions whether we should be raising a glass now as we see the cake cut. So why don't we do that at the outset here? Raise a glass with me and everyone else to 30 years of Abbey College, Manchester. And what a wonderful achievement it's been. And what a beautiful cake that looks. Fantastic. I'm delighted to be with you all this evening. Slightly embarrassed that I've failed to get the right background, but I'm afraid that's a testament to my appalling technical skills or lack of them. But it's very good to be with you. And as others have said, can I add my congratulations to the class of 2020. What an extraordinary finale you've had. And as others have said, it's a great tribute to you that you've coped so well with it. And I think at this point, I want to say on behalf of Alpha Plus and the directors, how hugely we appreciate the extraordinary efforts that everyone in the college community, staff and students, have made to get through this very difficult and challenging year. We have all had to learn and adapt new skills and new ways of doing things, adapt to endlessly changing and often not very clear government guidance and regulations. And you've done it with great good grace and good humor from beginning, and I hope near the end of it now. So thank you. But over 30 years, as others have paid tribute to Liz and her leadership, her involvement over about 2/3 of the time of the college's life, it is, as others have said, very much a family. I've been involved for only 2 years, so a fraction of the time that Liz and many of you have been involved with the college, but it struck me very strongly from the outset that it is a real family feel to the college. Everyone matters, everyone is treated as an individual. There's a fantastically strong sense of support and kindness and care from the moment you walk through the front door, whether that's at Riverside or at Cheapside. And what is very clear from the presentation that we've heard this evening about the history of the college over the last 30 years is how hugely successfully it's adapted. It's been agile and it's moved forward in all sorts of ways. It is in many ways unrecognizable from the college that began in 1990, but it's retained many of those core values at the same time. So many, many congratulations to the class of 2020 and to all of you in surviving this year, and what's more, for the fantastic 30 years that you're celebrating this evening. Well done, and raise a glass again to 30 years. Congratulations to you all.
Thank you so much, Tim, and thank you to you and all the governors, to Liz, to Rick, Rosella, to John, and to Mark for everything that you have done to support us. We really appreciate that. So we're nearly at the end of our celebration, and to the year 2021, our current academic year. I want to thank all of the staff, all of the students, all of the parents, everybody who's allowed us to create a very different college this year. And all that extra effort I know it's taken for you to actually build our community. You know, we've had our distance college, our one-way system, all of those things have been in place, our mixture of face-to-face and online learning, the way you've all responded to that, the way that you have all run with the decisions that we've had to make, none of them easy. So we really appreciate that. And I know that we will move forward and through this. And maybe from this, some of the real positives will come out of this too. Things that we will do differently as a result of this, but will just go to build us for the next 30 years. And so we do have new staff joining. Nicola Lees-Bruce, who'll be teaching art. Karen McLean, who's going to be part of our one of our Abbey Futures projects, which I'll talk about in a second. So Abbey Futures, where do we go in 2021 forwards? So first of all, we have a collaboration with Manchester Giants basketball team. And that has been with us. Jamie, who's going to do a little message in a minute, approached me during the lockdown to say, I've seen what you've done with International House. Could we do this with basketball? I said, absolutely. And so we're ready to roll with that from this January forward with all our programs like the football. We see they're going to complement each other. So it's a really exciting future development. And I think we have a little message from Jamie now.
Good evening, and I'd like to congratulate Abbey College on 30 years of success in developing young people. My name's Jamie Edwards, and I'm from the Manchester Giants, and we are looking forward to aligning our values with the values of the college, because anyone who's had 30 years of success of developing young people, there are ingredients to generating the success, and both academically and with the developing of the person. And so in basketball, I'm very interested in, yes, developing sports people, but I'm very interested in what they're like outside of the sporting arena. And I know that going forward, we are looking forward to the launch of the basketball course with the college, and looking forward to welcoming students from around the world to Manchester to take part in what for me is a very exciting relationship with one of the best educational establishments in the city. So congratulations, Abbey, 30 years, and I look forward to working with the college in the very near future.
Thank you, Jamie. And I think our ethos is aligned completely. So 2 more things for Abbey Futures. Mick has already mentioned our IFP Sport. We've got 5 students enrolled on that from January on the 18-month programme, which is really exciting. And finally, our Abbey College Manchester Online Revision School. This is going to be launched on our website tomorrow. And this is courses in twilight, in the early evening, and in the holidays. All are going to be actually delivered online, live online lessons with Abbey teachers. And we are going to be launching that from February half term. We're going to have maths, economics, business, chemistry, amongst the English amongst the subjects we're going to be offering, and they're suitable for students in Manchester or beyond. So to the future. We're now going to stop the slideshow, and we're going to have the whole panel up to say goodbye and do cheers. If everyone wants to put their microphones and their cameras on. And we're then going to, when we've said cheers and goodbye, we've got a short video to show you to end the webinar. And we just want to thank you so much for coming today. It's been absolutely wonderful, and I hope you've enjoyed it, and that it's been a party as well for the staff. And can I thank you for my wonderful bee card, the busy bee? You know how much I love that. And a necklace with a bee on, which is absolutely perfect. Thank you so much. Because as you probably know, the reason for the bee is that the worker bee was so important in Manchester in the Industrial Revolution, and that's why that's been adopted, and we've very much taken that on in terms of the college. So here's to the last 30 years, to everybody that's been involved, all our staff, our students, our parents, everybody, all our alumni who have now graduated, who are now working, who are now contributing to society as a whole, to everybody. And here's to Abbey Futures. Thank you so much. Cheers.
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 Cheers. And party poppers. Fantastic. Thank you, everybody. Do watch the last video. Mark has been trundling around on his bike across Manchester to make this, so it's worth watching. Just a couple of minutes. Thank you so much. And then at the end, we'll end the webinar. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.